All right, everybody, good morning and welcome back to the KSR YouTube channel where it's Sunday and Sunday means Cutlass Day. And in this video, I'm actually gonna do something a little bit different to the old Cutlass. It's kind of chassis related. Yeah, I guess it's still kind of chassis related, but at least it's not fitting tubes like we've done. Well, I take that back. There might be a couple of tubes, maybe 4 tubes. Depends on how they look once we get them installed where they're supposed to be. Yeah. But I'll tell you more about it after the intro. All right, so you can see we've got the old hot rod up in the air. Need to do some cleaning because this bucket is going to stay on the car, and then we're going to build something to replace all of this, and even got to cut and chop and splice on stuff that's up in here, as well as kind of clean this up where it goes there and the firewall and all that good stuff. But that is not what we're doing today. Maybe in the next video, but for today, we are going to start installing these things, which some of you may know what those are. And if you don't, I'm about to tell you, because what they are intended to do, they're gonna go on somewhere right up in here. But obviously, this is kind of in the way. Isn't that the way it always goes? You put the lift under the car, right where you need to work. So, I guess the first thing I'll do is lower it down, get the floor jack under this, jack up the back, slide the lift forward, probably put the lift maybe somewhere out there under that edge a little bit. Probably should check and make sure it's not too heavy in the back, which I think I'll be all right. Kind of see some of the different work done on the car. Bottom of the back side of our funny car cage that we did last week. But I need to get to do some cutting. And I will admit that the cutting and the grinding part is probably my least favorite. But it's an important part of the project, and it has to be done. So what can you do except just do it? If you're struggling with something on your own project, it's not going to get done if you don't do it. So just start doing it. I'll definitely admit that I can overthink something more than it ever needs to be overthought. But you know, that could be one of the reasons why this project has taken so long. You know, guilty as charged. But today we're going to get some work done. So let me get this thing set up and start doing some stuff. Luckily, the floor jack I need is right there. So here we go. Off to work.
Well, it's time for a time lapse and time for a voiceover. You can kind of see me being a little silly, lowering the car down, which you guys saw how long it took in the time lapse. It's basically 15 times longer at the base section or the base setting for a time lapse. At least if I'm understanding the time lapse math right, and you guys that want to chase this down can verify my math. But if the GoPro takes a picture every half second and the normal video frame rate is 30 frames per second, at least that's what I normally film in, that math works out to, I think, it being like 15 times longer. I had done the math before. I might need to check and see what the GoPro actually is, but yeah, that should be 15 times longer. Anyways, you know, we're going to do a little bit of chopping and cutting on this thing, which I've already started on. And at first I kind of just nibble in a little bit at a time, do a little bit of grinding, kind of, you know, make sure that I'm not taking too much. And then as time goes on, you know, I think about it more and more, and I'm like, well, the frame's really not doing anything back here anyways. And I don't really plan on using the frame for any kind of support other than really just the location, because the lower control arm box there is going to be, you know, reinforced with at least 2 bars, maybe even 3. Definitely the one going straight forward, like I mentioned. And then we're going to triangulate up towards the top part of the chassis. Maybe we'll go up and back to the lower bar that's for the upper control arm mount. So, you know, we'll just have to see how it looks once I get it set in there, like actually mounted later in the video, and then we'll decide on where we're going to put the tubes to reinforce it. And it's about to get real silly with the cutting. Kind of roll around, grab the Sawzall because the grinding disc was just taking way too long, and brand new fresh Diablo Sawzall blade, and it throws chunks off, not just slivers, it's chunks. Works really good.
All right, well, I cut a lot. So, decided to go way more than was probably necessary. But this thing is kind of being built to the extreme end of the rules. Hold on, let me put my Raycons up. And for those of you that wonder about if we actually use the Raycons or not, yeah, we do. And they're actually my favorite earbuds that I've got. Way better than my Apple ones that fall out of my ears all the time. Anyway, we're not talking about stuff this time, but just hopefully some of you guys took advantage of the Raycon code. If not, I'll post it again down here and you can go get you some Raycons. So, basically, whew, I made a mess. We'll have to clean that up tomorrow. I got this lined up where I've got just a little bit there to weld. You can kind of see there was an oval hole here, and then there was an oval right there. Well, the way I think of it, any metal that is behind this plate, it's just extra weight. And the top, so I'm going to cut off that ear, and then I'm going to do a tube from that face over to that bar. And then I might even do one from the top up here, maybe up, I don't know. We'll figure out that once we proceed a little bit further with this. But that's what we're looking like. So still stock suspension-ish. You know, that's maybe thinking a little bit more out of the box than what some people think. But I'm able to leave just this inner skin to meet the rules for notching it for the tires. So I might as well do the same with that. And as you can tell, I'll be able to get in here and weld the rest of this, weld up that side of the joint while I'm in here. So it's kind of making it safer in some spots. And I think I'll probably put like I'll probably continue a plate out from here to meet up with this, so it kind of boxes it, or at least that'll give it a smooth spot to transition from where we cut all of the outside out. Because I don't know if it'll be this video or not, but we may get in here and go ahead and slice out all of the outside of the inner frame rail. And I guess, so the body is sitting on the frame back here. I might need to make me like a little temporary arm or something to come off of the cage and go under like this corner of the body for now, because I can get rid of, see, I got my cut line. So the stock frame just has to be there to the back of the wheel well, the way I understand the rules. So I've got to get out of here tonight, go pick up my kids from gymnastics, and then I'll be back tomorrow morning to hopefully finish this up, at least get them in place. Now that I got one side kind of worked out, we'll jump over on this side, should go a little quicker. I might wear some long sleeves tomorrow because that old Diablo Sawzall blade, those jokers mean business. They certainly will remove some metal in a hurry, which you probably saw in the time lapse. But all right, see you guys back in just a second. All right, well, I'm back to work on the car. It's actually Saturday morning. Really thrashing this week to get this thing, some kind of progress done on this thing, because we are already halfway through this year, and we have to finish this for sick week, this for sick week, and yeah, those are the same car, and this for sick week 2025. Shoo! I will say, like, you know, I'm still wrapping my head around this mindset, but like my kids being out of summer, because, you know, I'm still a kid at heart, but like, you know, you think, oh, it's summer, I'll have more time to do things. Well, now that the kids are out of school and I gotta take care of all the kids and do all that stuff, summers give me less time. So I haven't gotten as much done so far this summer on my stuff as I have wanted to, but we will be able to get some more done here pretty soon, because they go back to school, I think, in like 3 weeks. And it seems like the summers have gotten shorter also, which, as a parent, part of me doesn't mind. Part of me does, because of some of the stuff they teach in school these days. Anyway, let's not go down that path. But yep, I'm back, gonna get to work, gonna make a mess. I forgot to wear long sleeves like I said I was going to, but we just gotta get some stuff done. So here we go.
So I thought I would at least start off this time lapse with a little bit of music. You know, some of you guys have voice that you like the music sections. Just gives you time to just kind of chill and watch and not listen to me yammer on for the whole video. But we're back to chopping and cutting on the other side. And being that, you know, these are suspension mounts, I kind of decided that it was best to kind of mock them up and mount them basically at the same time. So I know the upper mounts are square with the car, they're level, they're going to be, you know, each hole is the same relation to the rear end, so that when I make a change in the bar angle or, you know, change to locate to a different hole, it's going to put the bars where they're pulling equally, and it'll make sure that there's no bind in any of the suspension anywhere. So that means that the lower control arms, those mounts need to be as good as I can possibly get them, because the better they are, like I said, the less binding there will be from the bars trying to swing in different arcs. So if you think of the lower bars swinging in an arc with each other, and then the upper bars swinging in an arc with themselves, if the two bars on the top plane are in a different angle, or the two bars in the lower plane are in a different angle, well, it's not going to swing freely, and it could lead to binding in the suspension to where the suspension, like, the car doesn't work. Like, you go out and, you know, sometimes the tire and the track might band-aid the problem or be able to mask the problem and cover it up. But ideally, we want all of the suspension movement controlled by the shock and not due to different areas of binding in the suspension. Hopefully that makes sense. You know, it's kind of like I can see it in my brain and like try and talk it through, but I hope that that is something that, you know, kind of makes sense for you guys that are following along. And so the next move in this whole adventure is to set the chassis down onto the blocks of the lift, or the emergency stops, I guess you could call them, and then to square the chassis up, because we're going to make sure that the horizontal bars are horizontal, and with our digital level we can really hone in on getting that just right. And then we'll put this bar onto my screw jack, make sure that bar is level, and then we'll clamp the lower control arm mounts to that bar, and then measure from the center line of the car each direction. So we're kind of working in 3 different planes, because we have the plane of, if you're looking at the control arm box from the top, so there's the twist there. There's also, if you're looking at it from the back, so there's the, you know, being off on the vertical axis there. And then we also have to make sure that they are equally from the center line left to right. So, and then we've already solved the up and down, you know, alignment with the piece of angled bar there. And that way it, you know, you try and, or at least I try and make some kind of fixture to work back and forth from, to give me a reference point back, I guess is a good way to say it. So kind of do a little bit of tacking on the driver's side. I was pretty happy with it. And then, well, now that we've got it there, I'm going to really have to focus on the passenger side to make sure that it matches everything exactly perfectly that is on the driver's side of the car. So you see I break out the hammer there and kind of hammer on the bottom of the frame. I end up going to get a big crescent wrench here to kind of try and bend the bottom of the frame. And I will say that whatever steel they used on that frame, it's pretty strong. Like it seems stronger than definitely like the hot rolled plate that we get. Maybe not cold rolled, like just the raw plate that we use for stuff, but the frame itself, like it took some pretty good effort to manipulate it so that I could move it to try and get the passenger side box high enough. And I still kind of run into an issue, and I'm going to tell you about it in real time right now.
All right, well, hopefully you guys can see kind of my process, and I think I just waved the laser through the lens. Not sure what that looks like. Oh yeah, there it is. Whoa, cool. Anyways, so I'm actually gonna call it a day today because I promised my kids I'd go take them to the lake out at my dad's house. So we are gonna call it a day for today just because I actually need to grind and thin this part of the frame rail. It's like curved for some reason, and it's not much that I'm fighting with. Like if you see the laser on the bolt, it's probably a quarter of the way through the bolt, like where the laser height is on there, and then over here it's closer to the middle of the bolt. It's not quite the middle, like I'm really nitpicking about 1/8 of an inch, but that's how I do things. And you can kind of see I've got a gap here, which I can tap that down, but there's also a gap out on the very corner and a gap up here. So what I want to do is grind on the frame, which means I have to take all of this off. And yes, it's only tack welded over here, but we've got a lot better fit up. Even though there's a little gap right at the corner, this fits a lot better through the whole distance over here, and it's level and square to the lower frame rail there. But just to make sure, I don't want to rush anything. I want to make sure that I get back to everything being happy and square and all that stuff. So I'm gonna call that a day today, and then we're gonna go, like I said before, we're gonna have a bar from here. We'll just do 1 5/8 inches since I've got some 1 5/8 drops over there. So we'll have a bar in between there, and these boxes are being pushed by the rear end. So the top ones are being pulled, but then the bottom is being pushed because as the power is applied, that rear end is trying to twist inside the 4-link brackets or inside the chassis. Just the way the ring or the pinion gear wants to spin and actually climb the ring gear. So if we can make that to where it's really good reinforcement, you know, pushing forward, that should take, you know, all the load. I look really funny with the laser all over me. But I'll probably even go from here, like maybe I'll go up to the front of this box, or maybe even just down to the bottom of it. I don't know. Maybe bring one from here down to the top. We'll work it out. Like we'll move some stuff around and push, prod, and pull and poke and all that good stuff. But I'm gonna get on out of here. Hopefully everything stays put. The lift is on the stops. Everything's level. Lasers through the chassis, all cool. And I got a chunk I just took out of my finger when I was doing something. Anywho, appreciate everybody watching, subscribing, commenting, following along. And I'm gonna go hit the lake. See you guys next week, at least on the Cutlass videos. New England 900 this weekend. If you're in that area, hope to see you there. We should be there by about 10:30, 11 o'clock on Friday morning. And then hopefully be winning us a race. I'm hoping my car is better than last time because she was hurt right from lap 1. But we'll see what happens. New England 900. See you guys there.